One-handed whip binds, one of the many tricks that beginners would love to learn but take some time to master. First, you got to understand how a bind works. So front style, front trapeze, or maybe you get into it this way, but it's the same idea. Is a trapeze, and you're doing a little pinch to hold it still and pulling the yo-yo back to cause your bind. Well, an open whip bind does the same thing, except instead of sliding up into your trapeze, you're whipping the string around and you're letting gravity do the work of the pinch and lift, because as it whips around, the yo-yo is going to fall into the string and cause the bind to happen. The trick to it, keeping your string lined up. What you don't want is when you whip it around to have half the string hit the gap, half not, it get all twisty around, and you've got a big snagged mess in there. So keeping the string straight. What I recommend is, as you whip it under, you want to pretend you're doing elevator. You've got that perfect straight up and down line, except you want the string not to hit straight on the gap, but slightly on a diagonal. So when it whips around, it's about here. Not too far, or you end up with it whipping around, with it separating and tangling, but just slightly off center. I find that really helps, especially when you're learning. Thicker string makes it easier too. Depending on your bearing, your gap, your string, your pads, the works, you'll give it less or more string. I like to try to catch the yo-yo somewhere in kind of the first 10 to 20 centimeters of the string, but if it's a narrower gap, maybe we go further down so there's less room for wraps to snag in there. And depending on your gap, you're going to pull harder to get it to come back up. To do one from the side, so you've done your breakaway, it's tempting to try to whip it this way into the gap. The problem is, that's not the direction you bind, right? When you do your trapeze, you don't bind this way. You bind by doing an undermount or by bringing this string across. So your trapeze is actually over here, which is the same as doing a front style trapeze over here. So to do an open whip bind breakaway, you can turn your body to the side and do the same thing you did front style, or try to do it that way, add a little flair, go like this. Ho! No, I'm never going to do that again. I'm way too old to pull that sort of thing. Anyhow, so those are your two basic open whip binds. There's some crazy ones people do that are around. I can't do those. So that's what you get for now. Later I'll do one on the Skybind. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the link in the description to head to my Patreon and find out how you can help me make more tutorials.